The Brasil das Águas, or Brazil Land of Water project, was devised by pilot and engineer Gérard Moss. Its objective was to assess the quality of Brazil's freshwater reserves on a nationwide scale and promote their conservation. The key to the expedition was a seaplane transformed into a flying laboratory. Using innovative technology developed by the project team, this is the first time an aeroplane has been used to carry out a survey into water quality. The aircraft's range of 1,500 kilometers made it possible to obtain samples from the farthermost reaches of this vast country. Over a period of 14 months, water was collected from almost 1,200 sample locations, specifically selected by a team of experts. The result of this unique survey is a picture of the current state of Brazil's water resources, available as a reference both for the scientific community and the general public. The samples would be scooped up in flight by skimming the surface of a river or lake and then held in a recipient inside the plane. An inboard sensor immediately measured physico-chemical parameters such as pH, conductivity and salinity. Margi, Gérard's wife, was responsible for handling and processing the samples. They would be subdivided into small bottles and later forwarded to the researchers in Rio, São Paulo and Minas Gerais. The survey primarily identifies the tropic state and ion composition of each sample. Further studies are carried out on bacterioplankton, biodiversity of phytoplankton and presence of heavy metals. Occasionally, with the plane fully stopped on the water, samples were also collected with a fine mesh net. All sample locations were photographed to help researchers understand their environmental context. The results of the analysis are available on the project website. The expedition began in the Paraná River Basin. This immense river, the second longest in South America, is heavily dammed. The depletion of gallery forest on its banks causes concern. To the south, in Rio Grande do Sul, millions of liters of water are pumped out of the rivers to irrigate rice fields, seriously depleting water levels. In Santa Catarina, the Mãe Luísa River changes color from blue to brown and green. Suddenly it turns yellow, a result of runoff from coal mining activities. In northeastern Brazil, the rivers meander across spectacular landscapes, but here too they are under attack. Sewage, pollution from factories, agricultural runoff and deforestation are all detrimental to the trophic state of the São Francisco River. Obviously, the more people who live in a region, the worse the water conditions. Rivers that pass through state capitals are heavily polluted. One of the project's aims was to increase public awareness about water problems. Gérard and Margi visited schools and talked to children about what we all can do to avoid wasting it. Many rivers in the Midwest are still in good shape, but samples collected close to cane or soya plantations and in areas cleared for grazing show the impact caused by slashing and burning, destruction of gallery forest, use of pesticides and dredging for gold. Deep erosion gullies are found all over the country. Farmers need to improve agricultural practices and land use. Factors like these contribute towards one of the project's sadder findings, that the waters of the Pantanal, the world-famous wetlands in central Brazil, are already in jeopardy. Now take the source of the Araguaia River. Bereft of protective vegetation and constantly trampled by cattle, it was drying up. Fencing off the area enabled it to recover. The spring now bubbles once again. The Araguaia is a living river, still undammed. It is generous to those who live along its banks. All over Brazil, nature is bountiful, exuberant, but in the very heart of this paradise, the rivers suffer the effects of dredging by diamond and gold prospectors who contaminate the water with heavy metals and tons of mud. How far does one individual's quest for riches give him the right to poison those who live downstream? In the north, of course, there lies the world's mightiest river. Life in Amazonia gyrates around its numerous, endless rivers. It's easy to understand why the Amazon is called the River Sea. It has the greatest flow of any river and drains the largest river basin, covering 40% of the South American continent. It's a river of superlatives, fed by 1,000 tributaries. Many, like the Negro and Tapajós, are major rivers in their own right. Its waters harbour the pirarucu, the largest freshwater fish on Earth. Here you can fly for hours and hours over a carpet of rainforest and crystal clear rivers which seem untouched by man. Moments like these, when Gérard and Margi fly above such boundless landscapes, compensate for the hours of tension that go into each long day. To collect samples by skimming the water surface requires sang-froid and skill on the part of the pilot. Overhead cables are a threat to low-level flights, and in the water lie hidden traps such as submerged rocks, tree trunks and sandbanks. In all, they covered 120,000 kilometers in 800 flying hours. Regardless of the conclusions reached as a result of the analyses, the project can be considered a success if, all over this immense land, the population begins to cherish and look after this most precious of Brazil's natural resources, its fresh water.